Have you ever felt that you're just working your butt off day after day, but never feel like you're getting ahead? Well, that's how I've been feeling lately, and I wanted to make a video to address the problem, to ask why is this happening and what can be done about it. Because I know that there are many hardworking people, smart people out there who are just hustling every day, working their butt off, but they just see no future for growth, right? You feel overworked, undervalued, and there's just no way that you can scale and get out of the situations. So today is a little bit more of an emotional video. I just wanted to make something different because nobody talks about this problem and there is really no solution to that. Now, I want to start this off by saying that I'm coming from the perspective of a healthcare worker, but this applies to any sort of profession. And it's the fact that you've studied so much, you went through schooling, you took on debt, and eventually you got into this program or job or whatever it is, and you're starting to work. But now you're starting to see that there is really no future for growth. Like, yes, you're getting paid and all that, but you're getting paid barely to survive. At least that's what it feels like to me. That you're getting paid just enough to pay off the mortgage, just enough to cover off your debt, and then you just have to constantly do it and do it. And at some point, you're going to start to ask yourself like, hey, what is the future here? Am I just going to do this until retirement? And then you have to add on like getting a family, getting a mortgage, having kids, all this extra stuff. Like, it feels a little overwhelming. And what I started to realize is that I think the whole system and jobs and everything is kind of built like a treadmill, right? That we were trained and honed to actually eventually run this treadmill. So once we start running on it, right? And no matter how hard we run or no matter what we do or what direction we go, we kind of are constantly staying in place. And that's the problem right here. Because we were trained to think that, if you're a hard worker, if you're smart, if you're creative and you do all these kind of things, that your income would scale with time. And I'm pointing out income right here because if your income scales, that's going to translate to all the other stuff. If you have more money, it means you have more freedom, more time to basically live a more fulfilling life. The problem is that there is very little ways to scale your income right now. And if you're in healthcare, you would understand what I'm talking about, that you are working your butt off, you're trying your best, doing your best, but there is very limited potential for growth. Sure, you get a few % raise every single year, but that's not nearly enough to really change your life. So at some point, a lot of people start to ask themselves, what is the next option? What do they have to do? And I want to share with you my solution. Now, I personally believe that everybody, not just healthcare workers, we are human beings with creative potential. We have really unique experiences. We have really, really unique skills, unique knowledge that we can share and improve the world. The problem with a job is that our job is a very specific thing where they tell you to do something. Again, nothing wrong with that. It's just a system, but a job is designed to make you do a very specific task. And that means you are replaceable. So even though I went to school, I got a bachelor's, master's degree, got certified. I'm an occupational therapist, by the way. A new student that went through that program and got an occupational therapy degree will be able to replace me. And what does that mean? That means that no matter what I do, my value as an occupational therapist is always going to be constant. There's always going to be a number attached to it. Now, how do you actually escape this situation? I believe the answer to that is that you need to turn all your unique values and skills into something that you can actually help someone with, something that is unique to you as an individual. Because a lot of people make the mistake of tying their value to their job title. They tie themselves to a physical therapist, a nurse, an engineer, a lawyer, whatever it is, right? But when you do that, you narrow your thinking. You narrow your thinking to a way where you're just constantly thinking like, these are all the skills that an engineer needs, right? These are all the skills that I can do and how I can help. So you're just kind of limiting how much growth you have. But as a human being, your superpower, and very important here, you need to remember that your superpower is unlimited growth. You can constantly evolve, constantly improve, constantly learn new experiences and skills. And your job as a human being is to constantly I say constantly so many times, right? Is to basically absorb all that information, absorb all that knowledge, compound things and create something unique for the world. At least that's what I believe the solution is. You need to compound everything that you know to create something unique in the world. And a lot of people are going to ask like, okay, that sounds like a really, really vague way to do things, right? How do you actually achieve that? And to be honest with you, for a long time, I struggled with that over the last 3-4 years. I would stumble about creating some ideas, trying to make some programs, and I would keep failing and failing and failing. And what I started to realize is that there is a certain technology that's been developing super fast and is extremely, extremely effective in helping us solve this problem. And the solution is just artificial intelligence. I believe that a lot of people use AI wrong. A lot of people use AI in a way where they want to treat it as a glorified search engine, right? You ask it some sort of question and then it gives you an answer and you're like, okay, I'm just going to take that answer. You may as well just Google the answer, right? But the true power of AI is when you have a goal, a dream to achieve, and when you share with it what your skills, experience, interests, dreams are. That's where I believe AI really shines. Because if you feel stuck, it's not that you lack skills or information or any of that for the matter. If you feel stuck, you simply lack clarity. You lack clarity on what the next step is. You lack clarity on where you need to go next. And that's where artificial intelligence becomes very powerful, because if you share with it your whole journey, what your interests are, what your dreams are, where you're at right now, and you ask for the next step, AI can logically break things down to you. That's where I think the power is. And it's so interesting how AI is coming in an era right now where so many people just feel trapped. And I can go on to a whole other video about this or why this is happening. There's the whole inflation problem, the debt problem, and all this other stuff. I'm not going to get into it. But if you're a millennial or Gen Z watching this or whatever it is, just understand that we're kind of screwed if you just followed the traditional system, right? I mean, there's just so much depth. When you're working, you're just constantly keeping up with things. Like, it's just not enough. If you want a fulfilling life, if you want to have the freedom to spend more time with the family, to travel, to work on projects that you like, then you need to take on the extra risk of understanding what it means to create something unique in this world. And artificial intelligence is just such a game changer in that aspect. Because the true unlock that came to me is that you don't want to treat AI as a search engine. You want to treat it more like a friend, like a consultant. And I know it sounds like, oh, that sounds kind of weird, right? Like, why would I want to share everything with AI? And because you want to treat it more like a mirror, right? You're talking to something or someone, whatever you think the AI is, right? Talking to it and let it respond back to you logically. Because often not, you're so busy with your life that you're not really thinking about any of these kind of things. Everything is just going on in your head. But once you start putting it down on paper and you have a computer logically go through stuff, tell you exactly what you need to hear, then now you can start to brainstorm and think a little bit better. Once I started doing this, I started seeing so many more paths in my life. Because the big problem that I fell into is that, all right, I'm a healthcare worker, I have all these skills, and I'm constantly just looking for opportunities only using those skills, right? I'm like, okay, where can I work next? What extra certifications can I take? But then those paths are just so limited when it comes to growth. But when I start talking to AI, hey, these are my dreams, these are the skills that I've picked up, all these different things, right? Now it comes up with really unique paths like, oh, I didn't really think about that. Maybe I can try to pursue that kind of thing, right? So that's at least how I've been using artificial intelligence a little bit more. And by the way, if you are interested in getting started in this process, you can check out the description below. I have a free worksheet. You can just check it out. It's very beginner friendly and you can go through this process yourself. Because I believe that AI is so useful in helping bring clarity and structure to your life. If you feel lost, if you don't know where to head, that's a great way to start. At least at this point in my life, what I realized is that yes, I'm a great occupational therapist. I have all this really unique clinical experience and I'm working hard at my job, right? But no matter how hard I work, no matter what I do, no matter how much time I spend, I'm always capped. There's a ceiling to how much I can make. And that's because I'm being valued as an occupational therapist, and an occupational therapist makes only a certain amount of money. There's no way I can break that ceiling. If I ever want to break that ceiling, I need to create something unique that can give value above an occupational therapist can bring. And the only way I can do that is tap into who I am, the passion that I have, who I want to help, and build something from the ground up. And while it may sound overwhelming at first, AI can make this very, very possible. So I just wanted to make this video. I know this was a little bit more emotionally charged, but I'm going through a phase in my life where things are happening really fast. I wish someone would tell me all this when I was early on in my journey, that just working hard isn't enough. You also have to work smart and you have to work with intention. A lot of people, I know there's a lot of hard workers in the world. I mean, I work in healthcare. I see people, they're just constantly hustling, working so hard, but yet nothing really changes because the world isn't fair. The world isn't fair in the sense that just because you're a hard worker, just because you're a good person, doesn't mean that things are going to be given to you, you're going to be rewarded, that you're going to come out on top. No, that's not how the world works, right? You have to take charge and accept that there are certain rules in the world. And one of those rules is that the more value you bring, the more that you understand that you need to take advantage of your unique value, then the more opportunities will come to you. So yeah, I hope this video helps you out. And if you like this kind of content, go ahead, like and subscribe to the channel. I'm really just sharing all the ideas that I have, especially when it comes to how to use AI to build a life that is free, something that's fulfilling. And a quick reminder, make sure you check the description for the worksheet if you're interested in just finding out how I use artificial intelligence to get started with this process. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the very next one. Later.